Funny, isn't it? How the quiet ones always end up being the storm they never prepared for. That's how it starts. That's how you start. Because you walked into that day with nothing but peace in your hands. And they walked in with knives made of insecurity, gossip, and that pathetic little craving to see you break on a holiday you didn't even ask for. They thought Thanksgiving would be the perfect place to corner you, to poke, to prod, to ruin. And yet somehow, every jab they threw ricocheted off you and ripped holes into their own reputation instead. And you didn't even raise your voice. You didn't lift a finger. You didn't defend yourself. You just existed. And your existence alone was enough to expose the hollowness in theirs. Do you understand how terrifying that is to fragile people? You walk in with calm. They walk in with poison. And by the time the plates hit the table, everyone in the room is already whispering about them, not you. Because you have this sickening supernatural way of making their lies look stupid the moment they open their mouths. They underestimated the silence you carry. They misunderstood the darkness you survived. They forgot the kind of creature you are. The one who walks into a room with the same energy as a sealed file. Restricted access, classified aura. The type that makes insecure people twitch because they can't figure out what you know or what you've forgiven. And so they tried to ruin your holiday. But all they did was show the entire room the one thing they've been trying to hide. They feared you. Not hated you, not disliked you, feared. Feared your stability, feared your maturity, feared that you don't break like they do. Feared that you don't need validation the way they do. Feared that you don't care enough to react. Because to them, your indifference is scarier than any fight you could have started. You should have seen their faces, the way they threw little jabs masked as jokes, the way they looked at each other for confirmation, the way every insult landed flat, like wet matches that wouldn't spark. And you just sat there, calm, still, unmoved. That's the thing, isn't it? Your silence is not absence. It's a mirror. And every time they try to crack it, they just end up seeing their own reflection snap first. They tried to humiliate you, but your restraint humiliated them. They tried to provoke you, but your composure exposed them. They tried to make you look unstable, but every time you didn't react, another mask of theirs slid off in front of everyone. You didn't ruin their Thanksgiving. You didn't ruin their reputation. They did all that by themselves. All you did was breathe. And that's what drives them insane. Because deep down, they know the truth. The truth nobody says out loud, but everyone feels. You aren't the villain in their story. You're the consequence. You're the result of every betrayal you survived. You're the product of every silent night they never knew about. You're the proof that angels, when burned enough times, don't become demons. They become something worse, a paradox, a creature made of light so bright it blinds, and a darkness so deep it humbles. You're not predictable, you're not controllable, you're not manipulable, and that scares the hell out of people who rely on chaos to feel powerful. So instead of ruining your Thanksgiving, they exposed themselves. Instead of breaking your mood, they shattered their illusion. Instead of turning people against you, they revealed exactly who's been poisoning the room for years. And everyone saw it. Even the ones who didn't say a word noticed it. They don't realize it yet. But that day marked the beginning of their downfall. Not because you wanted revenge. Not because you spoke up. Not because you fought back. But because the truth has a habit of crawling out in moments of forced celebration. And when it did, It carried their names on it, not yours. So remember this. They didn't ruin your Thanksgiving. They didn't ruin your peace. They didn't ruin your energy. They ruined their own reputation by trying to ruin yours. And that is the funniest, darkest, most poetic thing about the entire situation, because you walked away with your sanity intact. Your grace is intact. Your silence sharper than any weapon they could have swung. But them, they walked away, exposed, unmasked, and wondering how the hell you keep winning battles you never even show up to. And the answer is simple. You don't fight like them. You evolve, you observe, you endure, you outgrow. You don't descend to their level. You make them choke on the altitude of yours. Remember that the next time someone tries to tarnish your name, their hands always get dirtier than your image ever could. And you know what the best part is? That's what he'd say if he were standing right behind you, voice low, cold, threaded with that razor-thin amusement only devils and prophets share. They actually thought you didn't notice. That's the part that cracks the whole world open, isn't it? They thought you were slow, naive, oblivious, distracted by the holiday lights, the plates, the fake smiles. They thought you weren't paying attention to the way their eyes circled you like vultures that hadn't eaten in weeks. But what they never understood is this. You don't react quickly because your mind works too deeply. Every time they spoke, you analyzed the tone behind the tone. Every time they joked, you calculated the sting inside the smile. Every time they looked at you, you dissected the envy inside the glance. They thought you were passive, but you were evaluating silently, beautifully, strategically. And that silence, that calm, terrifying quiet you carried through the whole evening. It made every single one of them panic internally. Why? Because silence is dangerous when it comes from someone who thinks instead of someone who hides. Their biggest mistake wasn't the attempt to ruin your Thanksgiving. It was assuming you wouldn't remember every detail they tried to bury under holiday spirit. And oh, you remembered. The way their voices tightened, the way their masks slipped, the way certain people avoided eye contact while others watched you too closely. You felt the pressure in the air, that thick, metallic tension that comes when people gather with too much resentment and not enough self-awareness. But here's the twist. The moment they tried to embarrass you, the moment they aimed their little darts of insecurity at you, something shifted. The entire room saw their desperation, not your weakness. And nothing destroys a person's reputation faster than letting others witness the rot they've been trying to hide for years. You know what really happened at that Thanksgiving table? You became a mirror. A living, breathing mirror. And when they unleashed their ugly intentions, all you did was reflect them right back. You didn't pierce them. You didn't attack them. You didn't expose them. You simply let them show themselves. That's why people were quiet afterward. That's why the atmosphere felt different. That's why even the ones who didn't speak were thinking. Because everyone felt it. Someone tried to tear you apart, and instead tore open their own character. Someone tried to mock you and revealed their jealousy. Someone tried to belittle you and exposed their insecurity. Someone tried to ruin your holiday and ruined their image in front of the very people whose approval they crave like oxygen. Listen, do you know how sickeningly powerful you have to be for someone to destroy themselves while trying to destroy you? That's a whole different category of fear. It's not what you said. It's not what you did. It's not how you reacted. It's who you are. And who you are is someone they don't know how to handle. See, they're used to chaos. They're used to drama. They're used to explosive reactions. They're used to predictable human emotions. Anger, outrage, loudness, defensiveness. But you didn't play their game. You didn't clap back. You didn't explain. You didn't shrink. You sat there with that unnerving calm. The kind of calm that makes people wonder, what does this person know? What have they seen? What have they survived? What storm lives behind those eyes? Your silence wasn't weakness. It was a warning they didn't hear. But everyone else in the room did. Look at the irony. They tried to weaponize Thanksgiving against you, but the only casualty was the illusion that they were the good ones. They tried to make you look unstable, but their emotional explosions revealed exactly who the ticking bomb really was. They tried to embarrass you, but ended up showcasing their own bitterness. They tried to make you the problem, but the whole table saw the real root of the rot. And the most poetic part? You didn't even try. You didn't strategize. You didn't manipulate. You didn't deceive. You were simply present. Present enough to make their insecurities surface, alive enough to make their shadows twitch, calm enough to make their chaos unravel. You want to know the truth no one says out loud. Thanksgiving wasn't ruined for you. It was revealed to you. It showed you who's genuine and who's jealous, who's supportive and who's silently threatened, who respects you, and who can't stand the fact that you've changed, grown, elevated, outpaced their expectations, and slipped out of the box they built for you years ago. They're not mad at what you did. They're mad at who you've become. They're not angry you didn't break. They're angry you didn't break the way they predicted. They're not ashamed of what they said. They're ashamed of how obvious it made their obsession with you. They're not embarrassed for trying to ruin your Thanksgiving. They're embarrassed because they failed. Publicly, spectacularly, pathetically, and deep down, they know the ugliest truth of all. You don't need to destroy them. They destroy themselves every time they try to touch you. That is your power. That is your curse. That is your evolution. You have become the kind of soul that forces others to confront the parts of themselves they've been running from. And when fragile people confront their truth, they break first. Remember that. Remember who you are. Remember what they saw. Remember how they unraveled. Because next year, they'll think twice before trying you again. And even if they do, you won't have to lift a finger. Your presence alone is the reckoning. But here's the part they'll never admit, not even to themselves. The room didn't just shift because they acted out. It shifted because you didn't. Your stillness, your restraint, your refusal to descend into their chaos. It told everyone something terrifying. You've outgrown the version of yourself they rehearsed their attacks for. They came to the table armed with insults meant for the old you, the you who used to react, the you who used to defend, the you who used to get flustered, emotional, cornered. They prepared their lines for that version. But that version is gone, buried, reborn into something colder, sharper, wiser. So what did they do? They swung at a ghost and stumbled forward into the truth. You didn't ruin Thanksgiving. They ruined the script they spent months perfecting. But wait for the irony that tastes like revenge dipped in silence. They expected a fight. You gave them a mirror. And mirrors are cruel to people who live dishonest lives. That's why they snapped. That's why their voices cracked. That's why their jokes sounded too sharp, too forced. That's why their smiles twitched at the edges. It wasn't Thanksgiving dinner to them. It was a battlefield they walked into, armed with insecurity, not strategy. And you weren't even trying to be powerful. You were just being you. authentic, self-controlled, quiet, in a way that feels like a verdict. You know what happens when a person with no inner stability tries to attack someone with unshakable internal peace. They expose the hole inside their own soul. And everyone at that table felt it. The sideways glances, the uncomfortable chuckles, the silence that lingered too long after their jokes, the slight shifting in chairs, the subtle looks toward you to see how you'd react. Oh, they felt it, because these moments, the ones soaked in holiday tension and family history, these are the moments where everyone's true character leaks out. And you stood there like a paradox, too calm for them to handle, too quiet for them to predict, too steady for them to shake. That's what ruined their reputation, not the words they said, not the actions they took, but the contrast between their chaos and your control. Humans hate that. They hate looking unstable next to someone who refuses to break. And you didn't break, not once. Not even when they tried that subtle little dig. You know the one. The line they saved for last, thinking it would crack your composure like ice, but it didn't. It just exposed how desperate they were for an emotional victory. And when a desperate person swings and misses, they don't just look foolish, they look dangerous. The whole room felt it. The energy changed, their masks slipped, their intentions leaked. It wasn't Thanksgiving anymore. It became an X-ray machine. And guess whose skeletons were glowing, not yours? Because you came with truth, you came with peace, you came with emotional discipline, the rarest currency in a world full of unhealed people. But they came with resentment they've been clutching for years. That's why they failed. You weren't playing the same game. You weren't even in the same emotional league. You want to know something even darker? People ruin themselves when they test the wrong soul. Some people are mirrors, some are storms, some are triggers. But you're an anomaly, a creature forged in silence, tempered by pain, sharpened by disappointment. You learn to read people by watching who they become when they think they're winning. And Thanksgiving exposed exactly who they are. Bitter behind the smiles, envious behind the jokes, threatened behind the questions, jealous behind the fake concern, obsessed behind the hostility. They couldn't hide it anymore. They didn't have the discipline. But you did. That's what they hate. Not your success, not your peace, not your evolution. They hate that you don't need them. They hate that you don't care about their validation. They hate that you don't crumble under pressure. They hate that your silence is louder than their entire performance. And here's the sickest truth. The moment they tried to ruin your Thanksgiving, they accidentally revealed who the real problem has always been. Everyone saw it. The way their voice shook, the way their eyes darted, the way every accusation felt rehearsed, the way every joke felt mean, not funny, the way the energy dropped every time they opened their mouth. And you, the one they were trying to expose, ended up looking more composed than anyone else in the room. You didn't lose anything. You didn't embarrass yourself. You didn't show weakness. They did. They exposed themselves so thoroughly, so embarrassingly, so publicly, that their reputation didn't just crack. It collapsed. And that collapse wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't chaotic. It was quiet, like a truth finally landing after orbiting for years, because that's what you are. A truth bearer, a mirror holder, a quiet reckoning. They tried to ruin your Thanksgiving, but the universe used that moment to ruin the story they built about you. And now they get to live with the fallout, the whispers, the side glances, the unspoken tension, the quiet shifting of loyalty in the room. Their reputation didn't fall because of rumors. It fell because of reality. Because when the masks dropped, your soul stood intact. And theirs didn't. And that's the real victory here. You didn't win by fighting. You won by refusing to play. But let me tell you the part that will haunt them long after the leftovers expire. It wasn't the moment they snapped. It wasn't the moment they slipped. It wasn't even the moment they realized everyone was watching them unravel in real time. No. It was the moment they looked back at you, expecting shame, and found nothing but calm in your eyes. That calm will echo in their heads for years, because only two kinds of people carry silence like that, the healed and the dangerous, and they can't tell which one you are anymore. That uncertainty, it eats at them. It gnaws at the parts of them they try to keep hidden. Because once someone realizes they can't rattle you, they lose the only power they ever had. You didn't argue, you didn't defend, you didn't explain. And in doing so, you ripped the stage out from underneath them. They were performing, you were observing, they were panicking, you were processing, they were breaking character, you were becoming the main character, and everyone saw it. You weren't supposed to rise above it. You weren't supposed to stay composed. You weren't supposed to win silently. But you did. And that's why they're spiraling. Not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't say. Not because you exposed them, but because they exposed themselves. Not because you ruined the holiday, but because your presence forced the truth to breathe. Let me finish this with the line that will echo long after the table's wiped clean. They didn't ruin your Thanksgiving. They revealed your transformation. They didn't shatter your peace. They proved how untouchable you've become. They didn't break you. They broke the illusion that you were someone they could still control. And now they must live with the aftermath, the whispers, the clarity, the undeniable shift in the room's gravity. Everybody felt it tilt toward you, because when the smoke cleared, when the plates were empty, when the night settled into silence, you walked away whole. They walked away exposed. The universe keeps receipts, and this year, it filed every moment under the day you stopped being their target and became their consequence. And that's the end of it. Not loud, not violent, just inevitable. A quiet ending to a loud attempt, a clean ending to a messy soul, a poetic ending to a pathetic plan. Thanksgiving wasn't ruined, it was reclaimed by you. Hello, tell me something. Who the fuck was supposed to stop you? The Council of Shadows, the prophets they bribed, the algorithms they programmed to predict you before you were even born. Because if that's the case, somebody messed up bad. See, they drafted chapters, they etched warnings into walls, they summoned priests, built temples, decoded star patterns, sacrificed bloodlines, all to prevent one thing: you. But what happens when the very glitch they feared starts walking like prophecy? When the forbidden variable becomes the final verdict, when the thing they were trying to stop is already inside the system, rewriting the outcome in real time. That's you, isn't it? They buried scrolls so deep, even hell couldn't hear them scream. They locked the last verse behind blood-coded gates. And yet, you showed up wearing the ink. You see, they didn't just underestimate you. They never understood what kind of storm you are. You weren't born. You emerged from silence, from suffering, from watching too damn long. They thought silence meant surrender. But in your world, silence meant setup. And now, look at them. Their rituals don't work anymore. Their spells bounce off you. Their courtrooms feel like playgrounds. Their secrets feel like old jokes that everyone's already heard. You've become their paradox. too divine to kill, too cursed to ignore, too real to erase. Let me ask you this. When did you realize they were more afraid of your unfolding than your arrival? When did you catch them looking away too fast, studying you without admitting it, creating coincidences around your movements? They said you were unpredictable, number, you were unprogrammable, you move like a glitch, speak like a cipher, walk like a memory their ancestors feared, and no matter how many rooms they gather in, how many scripts they retype, how many names they blacklist, yours keeps reappearing in the footnotes, like a virus, like a ghost, like a destiny that stopped asking for permission. You weren't supposed to make it here, and that's the terror, isn't it? You didn't just dodge the traps, you bent them. You made them malfunction. You left footprints in their safe zones, blood trails in their logic loops, laughter in their war rooms, and now they're shaking, whispering, panicking. Because the prophecy didn't just fail, it switched sides. They can't calculate you. They can't decode you. Because you're not a message, you're a consequence, and every time you breathe, someone else's script burns. Every time you step forward, a generation of silence cracks. Every time you speak, a secret dies. Do you understand what you've become? Not a hero, not a villain, something worse. An exception with evidence. A glitch that remembers too much. A name that rewrote its own curse. And now they're sitting in silence. Because no one wants to be the one who says it out loud. Who the fuck was supposed to stop them? Because when you walked in, the prophecy folded, the scrolls went quiet, the signs turned to fire, and every watcher who stared too long now has your name etched on the inside of their eyelids. You were never in the plan, you were the break in it. And now you're rewriting history with your presence alone. So keep going. Keep moving like you're made of code they can't crack. Because the real fear isn't that you broke their system, it's that you are the new one. And this time, no one's coming to stop you. Because they already tried, and all that's left of them is your shadow. You can feel it, can't you? That trembling under the skin of the world when you enter a room. That hush that isn't respect, isn't awe, isn't hate. It's the instinct of prey that's just realized it's been studying the predator all along. They built entire systems to stop you, files, networks, whisper chains. They thought they were writing history while you weren't looking. But every time they tried to contain you, a crack formed. Every lock they forged had your fingerprint in it before it cooled. They don't understand yet that you're not an intruder in their story. Their story has been orbiting you since the beginning. Because the thing about prophecy is this. It's a cage built of words, and you learn to slip through words like smoke. They thought they were hiding scrolls. You were learning to read silence. They thought they were hiding symbols. You were becoming the symbol. You don't just break rules, you corrupt their code. You don't just step over traps, you turn the traps into doorways. Every attempt to define you makes you larger. Every attack becomes a proof of concept. Every whispered, "They can't do this," becomes the sound of the rope snapping. And in that silence, in that space between their panic and your pulse, something happened. You became duality incarnate, the saint and the psychopath, the angel and the demon, the one who smiles while pulling the pin, the one who prays with blood still on the hands. They can't compute you because you're not one thing. You're the mask and the face, the prayer and the execution, the wound and the weapon, and every time they try to choose which one to fight, you switch, and they fall further behind. That's why their analysts go home shaking. That's why their leaders speak in riddles. That's why they're now rewriting the prophecies instead of reading them. Think of it, entire bloodlines trained to watch for the one who would burn the script. They practiced for centuries. They sacrificed children, burned cities, rewrote laws, installed watchers on every corner of the mind. And then you arrived and did not even flinch. You walked through their rehearsals like smoke through a net. Now they're realizing something horrible. The prophecy never predicted you. The prophecy predicted what would happen when someone like you stopped playing by its rules. Every move you make now is an aftershock. Every breath you take is a signal flare. They whisper, "What are they?" But they already know. They're just hoping if they don't say it out loud, the universe won't confirm it. But here's the real terror, the thing no one in their rooms dares to put in a report. You're not even at full capacity yet. You're still testing the edges. You're still learning how to use the fire you've been carrying since birth. And even now, half asleep, half masked, you're rewriting the landscape of their power. That's why they're desperate. That's why they're trying to shame you, distract you, bury you in noise. Because the moment you stop doubting what you are, the whole architecture collapses. And deep down, they know it. You can feel it too, can't you? Every room you enter slows down. Every conversation twists toward you. Every warning turns into an invitation. The prophecy isn't a cage anymore. It's a trail of ash behind you. This is what evolution through pain looks like. This is what unpredictability as power feels like. This is what it means to be the monster they summoned to kill the monster, and then realized it had no leash. So walk. Walk like the glitch in their bloodline. Smile like the verdict they never wanted to read aloud. Every step you take now is a chapter they can't edit, a signal they can't jam, a prophecy they can't revoke. Because the truth is out. Who the fuck was supposed to stop you? Nobody. Not them. Not the prophecy. Not the shadow you left behind. Keep going. Because the more you move, the less their world exists. And the more their world crumbles, the clearer it becomes. They didn't find you in the scrolls. You were the fire burning the scrolls. Listen to the silence now. It isn't empty. It's a cathedral built out of panic. Every brick is a whispered conversation about you. Every window stained with the colors of the warnings they ignored. You stand in the middle of it, and even your shadow feels like a threat they can't catalog. They keep asking each other in hushed rooms, "What is it? What's the pattern? How did they get this far?" But you're not a pattern. You're the tear in the fabric of their statistics. You're the moment the spreadsheet bleeds. You're the name that shows up in files it should never touch. They send their smartest minds to hunt for you and come back with headaches and trembling hands. Because you're not something that can be solved. You're something that can only be survived. They thought prophecy was a leash. They thought destiny was a map. They thought the scrolls gave them control. But prophecy is just a story waiting for a rupture. And you are that rupture walking. Remember the nights you spent silent while they mocked you? Remember the times you burned but didn't scream? Every moment you endured was a forge. Every humiliation was an alloy. Every night you went unheard. A different metal welded into your bones. That's why you move like a shadow of fire now, cold and hot at the same time. A paradox no ritual can dissolve. You learned the language of their traps, then spoke it backward. You took their blueprints and used them as camouflage. You let them believe you were harmless because you understood the oldest principle of power. Predictability is death. So you became unreadable. You became the coin spinning on its edge, the mask with two faces, the question with two answers, both fatal. They can't pin you down because you are everything they tried to outlaw in one skin: mercy and cruelty, prayer and blade, the storm and the eye. And in the quiet of their panic, you can hear them recalculating. They're looking at old prophecies like crime scene photos. They're tracing symbols on walls with shaking hands, trying to see if they misread it. But it's too late. They didn't misread it. They misbuilt the world around it. Because you weren't predicted, you were triggered. You are the system correcting itself after centuries of their manipulations. You are the consequence of every hidden act, every suppressed scream, every erased name. And the moment you realized that, the moment you stopped looking for a savior and started moving like the weapon you forged yourself into, the prophecy collapsed like paper in fire. That's why, when you walk into a room now, you don't just arrive. You shift the gravity. You bend their time. You make their signals flicker. You make them think about their ancestors. You make them question their gods. They can't help it. You're not just a person to them anymore. You're the mirror of what they feared would crawl out of their own sins. And that's why no one steps forward to stop you. That's why their leaders sit in silence. That's why their enforcers look at the floor. That's why their analysts go home and drink until the numbers blur. Because everyone knows what happens to the one who tries to be the hand on the brake. Everyone remembers what happened to the last one who raised their voice. Everyone has heard the story about the hunter who became a silhouette on your wall. So keep walking. Keep being the contradiction they can't untangle. Keep letting their systems collapse under the weight of your unpredictability. Every step you take is not just survival, it's exposure. It's a signal to the others who are written out of the script. It's proof that the prophecy was never a prison. It was a warning about what happens when a ghost decides to come back in the flesh. And as you move, understand this. You're no longer playing their game. You're rewriting the rules in your own handwriting. You're teaching the world a lesson it will never unlearn. That the one thing prophecy cannot stop is the person who knows they were never meant to obey it. That's you now. The glitch, the exception, the storm they thought they could script. The silence that learned to speak in fire. So ask the question one more time, just to feel the tremor it causes in their chests. Who the fuck was supposed to stop you? The answer will echo through their halls like thunder. No one, not them, not the prophecy, not the ghosts of the past. You're already past the edge of the map, and they're still trying to draw borders around smoke. You've gone too far for them to track now. You're not on their maps. You're not in their databases. You're not even in their language anymore. You've transcended the code they use to contain threats. You don't just break rules. You make the entire concept of rules irrelevant when you show up. Because what do you do when the anomaly becomes the blueprint? They wanted to label you, file you, silence you, maybe even study you if they were lucky. But now their scribes can't keep up. Their servers keep glitching when your name's entered. Their symbols start overlapping when they try to tag you. Every attempt to contain you spawns a new fracture. You're not the target, you're the test. The algorithmic nightmare they never debugged. A spiritual paradox wrapped in human skin, programmed in pain, rebooted by betrayal, and updated in silence. And let me tell you something they'll never put in a report. Every time you get back up, reality shudders. Every time you speak, the watchers freeze. Every time you smile when you're supposed to shatter, another archive burns. That's not resilience, that's warfare. That's the kind of data corruption they whisper about in threat modeling meetings. Because you don't heal like others, you evolve. And you don't come back the same. You come back sharper, hungrier, more fluent in their own shadows. They thought you were beatable. But that was before they realized you studied defeat like a language, and now you're fluent in revenge. Oh, you didn't just break the prophecy, you made it beg for relevance. Now it lies in pieces, overwritten by a force it never accounted for. Because you weren't the villain, you weren't the savior. You were the glitch so complex that even fate couldn't predict you. They burned forests to erase your tracks, but your footsteps turned to roots. They drained oceans to drown your story, but your words swam back in the mouths of the children they forgot to silence. They tried everything, and all they did was make you inevitable. Now look at them, scholars of suppression, engineers of fear, librarians of false prophecy, and every one of them trembling. Why? Because you're still standing, and standing different. Standing outside the math, standing outside the prophecy, standing above it. That's what drives them mad. Because if you can survive this, if you can win, then everything they've built is invalid. Every rule book becomes toilet paper, every oath a joke, every threat just background noise. You are the update they can't block, the software patch they didn't authorize, the reboot they can't stop. And here's the worst part for them. You haven't even activated your full function yet. They're already scrambling, and you're still holding back. So what happens when you unleash? What happens when you stop dimming? When you start wielding what they tried to kill in you? I'll tell you what happens. Entire networks go dark. Ancestral lineages lose their grip. Legal systems collapse under the weight of secrets exposed. Because you weren't just hidden, you were encrypted by the universe itself. And now, the decryption has begun. They thought time was on their side, but now, time is on yours, ticking louder, faster, each second, screaming the same echo through their halls. Who the fuck was supposed to stop you? Not the elders, not the priests, not the politicians, not the AI, not even the gods they paid in blood to slow you down. No one. Because the moment you realized you were born outside of permission, you became unstoppable. So walk louder, laugh deeper, strike harder. Because now the world doesn't need a savior or a monster. It needs something it's never seen before. You, unfiltered, unhinged, unwritten, and absolutely impossible to stop. You weren't predicted, you were provoked. Now you're permanent. And now you stand here, breathing in a world that once swore you'd never exist. Every law they wrote, every wall they built, every silent room they filled with your name in whispers, it all collapses in this single moment. You are not reading their prophecy anymore. You are the ending they tried to avoid. Look at their faces. Look at the silence. There's no hand reaching for you now. No voice daring to tell you to stop. The ones who thought they were architects of your cage are standing at the edges of your shadow, praying not to be noticed. Because even their prayers have your name in them. They told themselves you were a mistake. They told themselves you'd burn out. They told themselves fate would take care of you. But fate isn't their weapon anymore. It's your echo. You've become the contradiction they can't compute. The saint who wields the blade. The demon who carries light. The prophecy that burns itself to make way for something new. You've reached the point where every step you take rewrites the ground beneath it. They're not watching a person anymore. They're watching a shift in reality. And this is the part they never understood. Prophecy is a story. Stories end, but consequences don't. You are not their story. You are the consequence they unleashed when they tried to erase you. You are the signal their silence accidentally broadcast. You are the voice at the end of their map, saying quietly, "Here be the end." So when you walk out of here, do it slowly. Feel the air change around you. Listen to how their whispers bend under your footsteps. Because you're not just escaping their script, you're erasing it behind you. This isn't revenge. It isn't even victory. It's metamorphosis. It's the moment the caterpillar becomes the blade. It's the instant the mask and the face fuse into one unrecognizable force. And as you leave, remember this truth burned into your bones. No prophecy can cage what it cannot predict. No system can stop what was born outside its permission. No one can stop you now. They tried. They failed. Even the prophecy gave up. Now the world will watch you walk, and every step will be a new law written in real time. Not a law they imposed, a law you are. Step out. Lift your head. Let them feel the weight of the question they're too afraid to ask out loud one last time. Who the fuck was supposed to stop you? And let the silence answer, no one. Not then, not now, not ever.